This is my July wrap-up of 2025 for the reading month of, July, obviously. So we're going to start off with Blood Dreams by Kay Hooper. This is the non-spoiler version, by the way. We don't spoil shit in there or anything like that. And I wish I could upload this before I start doing all this stuff, like talking about these. And I think I will start doing that because things are looking different for me. Actually, yeah. So you're going to get this non-spoiler version before the spoiler versions come out from now on, which is a great thing. So that way you guys will know whether or not I've liked it, and if you want to listen to more of my thoughts and feelings on shit, you can. So this is also the month where we diverge from what I've been normally doing to something different. These wrap-ups will probably stay the same like this, but my blog, my spoiler reviews, are now turning into blogs, starting with Brandon Sanderson and Flamecaster. What it is that I'm just going to start reading, and then I'm going to just, give you updates, spoiler updates on what I'm doing, what I think about the book and everything. So that way it's a little less convoluted and a little more you get to know more about my thoughts and feelings as I'm reading the books instead of what you get beforehand. So, Blood Dreams, Wither's Reign, Dragon King's Palace, The Oracle of Seasons, The Legend of Zelda, and Saint are all of the old way. So you'll get those videos first, and then Flamecaster and Brandon Sanderson will be the new way of me doing this. Hopefully you guys will like that better than what I have been doing, and maybe even I'll get more subscribers. Hopefully. Maybe. You never know. I'm trying to do this new blog way to give you my thoughts and feelings in a more relative term. So that way you guys are not just listening to a setup thing of me blubbering in a weird way. So, yeah, we'll see. Anyways, Blood Dreams by Kay Hooper. What made me read this book? Well, it's part of the Bishop series, and I did devour the other book I read in the series, which was Chill of Fear. The next book I have is A Deadly Web, which, of course, they're all different parts of the series, which is Evil something or another. I forgot what it's really called. A really good series that I really want to read more of. Once I get done A Deadly Web, I will go on and purchase maybe the next book in the Chill of Fear, or I might even go and get the first book in the whole bloody thing, which is Stealing Shadows, which is the beginning of the whole umbrella, I guess you could say. So the Evil series is a whole umbrella, and it's got trilogies within it, just like the Cosmere does for Brandon Sanderson. Okay, so the back of the book says, Blood Dreams. Dani Justice knows all about monsters. They haunt her dreams and her life, but she never expected to find herself on the trail of a real flesh and blood predator so cunning he's eluded the best law enforcement could send against him. So deadly, he doesn't hesitate to kill even a senator's daughter, or a cop. Dani doesn't want to hunt this killer, but she doesn't have a choice. She alone commands a weapon powerful enough to stop him, and she knows something even Bishop of the FBI's Special Crimes Unit doesn't know. Dani knows how the hunt ends. It ends in fire and blood and death. What she doesn't know is who will survive. This book is part of a series, of course, called The Bishop Special Crimes Unit, which, like I said, is the umbrella for the whole evil thing. But this is its own little thing. I think it's called the Blood Dreams trilogy. Yeah. Or technically it's underneath the Bishop trilogies, which is what this is. The genre is considered to be paranormal thriller, at least I think it is, because it does have paranormal in it. It says fiction on the side, but it's a thriller, but it's also paranormal. What did I think of the book? It was great. I loved reading it. I enjoyed it. There's always something unique about the way these people are. They're all psychics, but they all have different psychic abilities. And some of them are just like only usable during the day or only usable during the night, or they're shared between twins. It's rather a unique way of doing psychic abilities. So did this live up to my expectations? Yes, it had the paranormal, those were psychic abilities, and it had murders, and it was really thriller. You didn't know what was going to happen at the end, and it does give you brief glimpses into what the killer is doing, and it makes it even more time crunchy feeling. You know, when you're watching those movies with the thriller movies, and they're like, oh yeah, here's what the killer is doing, and you're like, oh my god, they have to hurry up and save these people because people are dying, and then you just end the killer's life, and you're just like on the edge of your seat. It was suspense too. Should you go and read this story/series? Yes, if you love reading about people with psychic abilities and murders to solve, because that's what the Special Crimes Unit does for the FBI. Of course, it also introduces a new companion to that, which I believe is called Heaven something or another. Oh, I know it's Seven something. It's Heaven something. I don't remember what it is, but it's Heaven something. And what they do is they investigate. They're private investigators that can be hired by people who don't want to get the law involved, but when the law needs to become involved, these people can and step in and do so. So yes, go ahead and read this. I'm also keeping this book. I am not getting rid of it. Not unhauling it. The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons, which is a manga. What made me read it? Well, I had it, and it's Legend of Zelda, and I do like the Legends of Zelda games. So, in a small village in Hyrule, a boy named Link has the mark of the Triforce on his left hand. It is a mark of destiny that leads Link on a fantastic adventure. Transported to the land of Holodrum, Link meets Din, the Oracle of Seasons. When a plot to steal the seasons from Holodrum unfolds, Link must battle the evil General Onyx to save Holodrum and his friends from a terrible... By the way, Link is also left-handed in this book, which is what he's supposed to be in the games, but he's not. He's like right-handed in the games, which is weird. This story is part of a series called The Legend of Zelda, and there's actually 4 more. Didn't know that. The genre is considered to be fantasy novel. Manga. It's manga. Fantasy manga. What did I think of the book? It was okay. Fast read with a fast end, since it was one manga based on a whole entire video game. But it could have been more. Did this live with my expectations? Well, like I said, it could have been more, so it was okay. It didn't really live up to a lot of my expectations, but it was okay for what it was. Should you go read this story/manga series? Yes, if you love the Legend of Zelda video games, it's good for what it is. It's based off the video games, and of course, most manga based off video games are short. Take the Kingdom Hearts series, for example. I'm also unhauling it. I'm not keeping it. I'm not really interested in the other books for it. If they cross my path and they're cheap, then maybe I'll get them. But if not, I'm not going to worry about having them in any way, shape, or form. Saint by Ted Dekker. I actually listened to the Audible of this, and maybe that's why I didn't enjoy it as much as I could have. But, you know, it is what it is. What made me read this book? The blurb on the back sounded interesting. So here is the blurb. We call you Saint. The name ignited a light in Carl's mind. Saint. He had been covertly recruited for Black Ops and given his life to the most brutal kind of training any man or woman could endure. He was here because he belonged here, to the X group. An assassin, the most efficient killer in the world, and yet Carl Stroppel struggles to retain fleeting memories that betray an even more ominous reality. He's been told part of the truth, but what's the rest? Invasive techniques have stripped him of his identity and made him someone new. For this, he is grateful. But there are some things they can't take from him. The love of a woman, unbroken loyalties to his past, the need for survival. From the deep woods of Hungary to the streets of New York, Saint takes you on a journey of betrayal in a world of government cover-ups, political intrigue, in one man's search for the truth. In the end, that truth will be his undoing. So the story is part of a series called Paradise. This is actually the second book in the series. The first one is really just a setup of the series, and the third one is the ending. So yeah, I'm not really interested in reading the setup of it. You got enough of information in what the first one was about, and I don't really have an interest in reading the third one because this one just didn't do it for me in the way I thought it would. So yeah, the genre is considered suspense thrillers because it's really suspenseful in it, and it's a thrill because, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on. Who's going to kill who? What's, you know, the mark? Who are you running from? What did I think of the book? It was okay for what it was. I like the magical element that was not hinted at in the blurb at all, because there is a magical element in this. Like, Carl Struppel can do things with his mind that's not normal for normal people. Did this live up to my expectations? Not really. For one, I was not expecting the magical element, and for two, the magical element in it made it more than just political intrigue and thrillerish, where he's trying to hunt for answers and assassinate and all this other stuff. So it's just what it is. Should you go and read the story/series? Yes, if you like suspense thrillers with a splash of magic inside, political intrigue, government cover-ups, and assassination attempts. I'm also unhauling it, if you didn't get a clue from what I said earlier. Next is, of course, Dragon King's Palace by Laura Jo Rowland. This is actually part of an 18-book series called Sano Ichiro. And I did not know that when I purchased this. I just liked the cover and I liked the title of it. And it also says by San Francisco Chronicles, it says, think James Clavell meets Raymond Chandler. So it sounded interesting. And Julie Clavell is like one of the biggest ones. He wrote the book Shogun, which I wish I could purchase and read. 1,000 pages book, which would probably be like the majority of, I don't know, my monthly TBR, because that's like huge, and most of my books that I read are not that huge. Okay, so what made me read this book? The title of the book and the blurb sounded interesting to me because I like reading about Japanese culture, and it does evolve into Japanese culture in the Tokugawa period, which there is not a lot of, because shoguns, they're very meticulous in how they do things. On a whim of the shogun's mother, a procession has left the sweltering heat of Edo, bound for the cooler climate of Mount Fuji. Among her traveling companions are Reiko, the beautiful wife of Sano Ichiro, the shogun's most honorable investigator, Reiko's friend Midori, 9 months pregnant, and Lady Yana Gisawa, the deranged wife of the shogun's powerful second-in-command. None of them looks forward to the trip, but their troubles have only begun when their procession is stopped suddenly on a deserted road. The entire retinue is viciously slaughtered. Actually, one survives, and the 4 women are bound and taken away. Sano now finds himself faced with the most important case of his career. The shogun demands quick action, and under the threat of death, Sano is forced to work with his bitter enemies. The delivery of a ransom note only complicates matters, forcing both Sano and Reiko to take desperate measures. So, yeah, that sounds freaking awesome. As I said, this is part of a series called Sano Ichiro, which I actually spelled wrong in this lovely wrap-up thing here, which is terrible of me. The genre is considered to be historical fiction. What did I think of the book? I enjoyed it. I really did. Enough for me to want to keep it or continue on with the series, because, I've got a lot of books. I don't know if you know. I've already read an 18-book series. I have a 22-book series. On here, the books are more than 3 in the series. I mean, there are some that are 3 books and 2 books, and I do have a bunch of standalones, but I have a lot of big-ass series that are more than 4 books long, and I just not ready to commit to an 18-book series. I might revisit it and maybe do ebook or something instead, so that way it's just easier for me than anything else. So yeah, Sano and his wife Reiko were very smart and rational, and I like the fact that Reiko is also a helper in her husband's investigation series, because he's the most honorable investigator, and his wife actually helps him out in the series and investigates along with him. So I really like that aspect, because most shoguns and most women in the Tokugawa period were just arm candy, unless they were, poor, and then in which case they just manual labor worked all the time, because that's what they had to do to feed their family. Did this live up to my expectation? Yes, it was a lovely insight of what Japanese culture was like back in the olden days of samurai and the shogun. There's a lot of samurais back then, and they're still based off from honor and dishonoring your family and committing seppuku. That still resides in the modern day society of Japan. So to read more about them back then is very interesting and also a different take on what you learn about them. So, yes, there's that. Should you go and read the stories? Yes, if you love historical fiction and Japanese culture, you should definitely go and read this story and the series. Like I said, I will most likely in the future just buy the ebooks for these and continue reading then if they have ebooks. If not, I will probably purchase them secondhand or something pretty cheap and read them and then unhaul them because other people deserve to read about it. Wither's Reign by John Passarella or John G. Passarella. I don't know why he changed his name from Wither to Wither Reign, but that is what it is. That's probably how I didn't know he actually had a series for this. It's a Wendy Ward novel series. That's what the story is part of a series called Wendy Ward novel. When we read his book is actually the sequel of Wither. I do have Wither's Legacy coming in the mail, so I can continue reading this, but I will unhaul all 3 books together so somebody can pick up the whole entire series and enjoy the whole series, because it's not really my cup of tea. It is occult fiction with thriller in it, because a race against time on who's the better witch and who can do the most damage to their adversary. So the blurb is Wither's Reign. Once they were strangers, bound by their fears of a demonic entity called Elizabeth Wither. They saw her come to life on Halloween in the historic college town of Wendell, Massachusetts. They saw their dark dreams come true with the terror she wrought. They watched her crushing death in tons of falling stone. But if Wither is gone and the nightmares are over, why do they wake up screaming? Wendy Ward, a college student with a gift for white magic, can sense that the town of Wendell is in for a dramatic change in weather. There's a new chill in the air. It's whispered in the warnings of an old woman. It's hidden in the corruption and legacy of a newborn baby. It's waiting in an ancient evil, impatient for a human host. And it's being carried in the creeping flow of black blood. Wither's Reign. So, there you go. What did I think of the book? It was good. Seeing the evil grow and the good grow side by side was an interesting take. How the struggle between good and evil can be fought before the entities that represented them actually met to fight. As you had the good growing in her magic, and they had evil growing and recuperating because, she was defeated previously, and now she needs to recuperate her loss and figure out how to attack the good. Did this live up to my expectations? Yes. It was better than I expected it to be for something that was not originally meant to exist, as the author had not originally planned a sequel to Wither, but was convinced by a friend that Wendy's story wasn't over, and thus Wither's Reign and Wither's Legacy was born. So yes, it was a standalone to begin with, but then it became a series. And even though the website says, or John Passarella's website says that you can read these as standalone, you really need to read the first book to be able to understand what the hell's going on with Wither, Abby, and Hannah. Yeah, you need to. You need to be able to. You have to. So should you go and read the story/series? Yes, if magic and Wicca interests you, as long with being a thriller and it's got a little horror in it, I guess. It's suspenseful as well. Pretty interesting. That's why I'm going to continue the series, but I'm not going to keep the books because I don't think after I'm done the series, I won't want to reread them. I really like watching the movies for thrillers and suspense more than I do reading them, because again, they're over quicker. And I am a very high type person when it comes to suspenseful mountings. And horror and suspense thrillers are really hard to close my eyes and not watch it when I'm reading the book. For the last 2 books in this, we have, of course, it's upside down, and I know this, don't come at me. Flame Caster by Cinda William Chima. A 4-star read that I wasn't expecting. When we read the title of this book, well, it was actually the second book's title, which is called Shadowcaster, which, if you know me by now, things that deal with death and grims and shadows is like my go-to I want to read, because I am the paranormal bestie of the world, and I just love myself a good fantasy read about darkness and death and grims and grim reapers. I really like that stuff, okay? My lock phone is a Grim Reaper saying you were next. Because one day you will die. I will die one day. Just the way it is. So the back of the book is, it actually doesn't really have a big blurb, which makes it even more mysterious. So it made me want to read this. A wizard prince in exile, thirsting for revenge. A girl with a curse, striking back against a ruthless king. Together, they will burn the kingdom to its rotten core. So, yes. This is part of a series called Shadow Realm, and I wish I would have known, and I'm going to warn you now, you have to read the 4-book series that began with this 7 realms first before you do this, because this is actually a continuation of that. It's just called the Shadow Realms because they're shattered instead of put together. So yes, you should read the 7 realms first before you start this. I didn't know that, but I will go and read those eventually if I like the other books in this series, because just because I like this book doesn't mean I will like the other ones, and that's why for the series I know I might not like the next book in the series. I purchased just the first book, and then I will continue purchasing the next book until I am either finished with the series or I DNF the series. So that way I'm not wasting money on books that I know I will not like, and I will DNF. This genre is considered to be teen and young adult fantasy. What did I think of the book? It was great. It just needed a little bit more action in my opinion, but otherwise I did enjoy it a lot. Yes, Flamecaster is like not completely flamey, and I would want it to be more flamey. More flames. If you're gonna tell me that it's Flamecaster, she's gonna cast flames. You gotta give me that, okay? And you gotta give me more of it, because you didn't give me a lot of it. Did it live up to my expectations? Yes, actually it did. It was really good. It actually exceeded my expectations, because I thought this might have been a 3 or a 3.5, but it was a 4. And like I said, the reason why it's not a 5, in my opinion, or a 4.5, is because of, well, 2 things. I'm not going to tell you one of them, but the other one is not a lot of flames. That's all I'm telling you, okay? Alright, so should you go and read the story/series? Yes, if you love fantasy. This is maybe a little of a spoiler, but dragons, realms, different realms, wars, and a budding relationship. You know, that's happening. I'm not unhauling the book because I might actually want to go back and reread it. Of course, if I don't like the second book in the series, I may unhaul it, or I might just keep it and just think of it as a 1-book series and be like lamenting the fact that, you know, it ends in a cliffhanger. Now for the last one, Mistborn: The Violent Empire by Brandon Sanderson. This is Mistborn, the trilogy, and it's also part of the Cosmere overall. I listened to the Audible of this, and it was really great. What made me read this book? It's Brandon Sanderson, and he's a fantasy legend, and I was bound to read it eventually. Okay. I mean, if you want to get into the fantasy series, you should totally read Brandon Sanderson. So this copy of the book is a little less bindy because I had to have the back pages coming out, and it's a little sad. I might do that whole book spreading thing where you spread it out and then just, you know, like, so that way you don't ruin the spine, because the spine is kind of cracked and ruined. So the back of the book is, the mists rule the night, the Lord Ruler owns the world. Once a hero arose to save the world. He failed. Ever since, the world has been a wasteland of ash and mist controlled by the immortal emperor known as the Lord Ruler. But hope survives. A new uprising is forming, one built around the ultimate caper, the cunning of a brilliant criminal mastermind, and the determination of an unlikely heroine, a street urchin who must learn to master the power of a Mistborn. So, yeah, there you go. This is genre's considered fantasy, action, and adventure, and it really is a lot of action and adventure going on in it, an exploration of the world. What did I think of the book? I loved it. The high stakes, the world building, the magic system, and the surprising twist at the end. It was a blast. And I mean, I really enjoyed the magic system because it's a new way of doing magic. It's not ultimate. It's not everything, and there are a lot of drawbacks to it. So it does have cost and effect. So if you use it, it does have a cost, and it does have effects around you and in the world, and there are consequences sometimes if you use the magic in the wrong way. So I really like that kind of system build up for it. So did this live up to my expectations? Yes. Brandon Sanderson is a master at high fantasy, and I cannot wait to read more. I've already bought the next book in it, The Well of Ascension. I'm glad this is the first one they recommend you to jump into, because it's actually really easier to follow than what I thought it would be. So all of his other ones must be a little more. We'll see once I read it. So should you go and read the story/series? Yes. 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 Ultimately, yes. And so that ends the reading wrap-up that I have for the month of July of 2025. If you guys think I deserve a like, comment, or even your lovely subscription, why don't you go ahead and drop it down below? I promise, I don't bite. Ever. So, I will see you guys next illusion.